Progressivism is a societal cancer. Oh, hi there! Welcome to the Freedom Alternative. Sweden is such a lovely place that I could do videos about things in Sweden all day long and I'd still miss some of the stuff that are cringeworthy enough to make me turn on the camera. Seriously, the desire of the political and cultural establishment in Sweden to remove anything Swedish from the country is so high that I'm having a harder and harder time not to say that the place is an asylum and the patients are running it. Fria Tidder titles "Pictures of the white male professors taken down and replaced with diversity paintings." Fucking hell. And goes like this, quote, "The law school at the Stockholm University has decided to replace all the artwork in the faculty room and the courtyard. The reason is that the paintings depict the old white male professors and therefore do not live up to the faculty's new diversity requirements." Dean Jonas Ebbesson accepted that all the professors of the faculty until the 1970s were white men and that, quote, "several of them have had great importance for proper scientific research." But now he's into feminism and anti-racism and thus decided to replace them with paintings that instead celebrate diversity. "We even had a bust in the faculty room of one of the professors that was the hardest engaged against Sweden's first female doctor-in-law, Elsa Eskilsson, who would become a professor more than 100 years ago. Nice that it is now gone from the faculty room," says Ebbesson. The new politically correct works have been selected by the National Arts Council in collaboration with the working group consisting of Jonas Ebbesson, the prefect Professor Peter Meltz, Professor Marianne Levin, and course administrator Aita Akule Larsson. The costs are borne by the taxpayers. Oh, but of course, every political idiocy in Sweden is paid for with money taken at gunpoint from average Swedes. One of the new so-called works of art depicting a rainbow trout looks like this. Well, it looks to me like a rainbow uterus, but hey, what do I know? I'm just a white man. Anyway, back to the article, quote, "Jonas Ebbesson, during his time as a dean, has been intensely committed to introducing various types of politically correct arrangements for the faculty. In the autumn of 2013, he adopted a plan that establishes that, quote, "the faculty is characterized by diversity, openness, and tolerance," end of quote. Ebbesson also has a diversity project which aims to reduce the proportion of Swedes amongst law students. Lawyers are overrepresented in society's various spheres of power, and it is important that the legal profession reflects how society looks like. For this reason, diversity among students in the law program is also required, he said last May. Oh, fan ta dig, dum jävel! Jesus Christ, what a fucktard. In all seriousness, though, if diversity is required because lawyers are overrepresented in other jobs, then let's apply this consistently. White Swedish men are also overrepresented in workplace deaths. Where are the bodies of non-white women? White Swedish men are also overrepresented in permanent emigration from Sweden, for good reason if you ask me. Would the right honorable oppressed minorities care to follow suit so Sweden can have some equality in that department too? Anyone with two brain cells to rub together can see that the faculty dean's argument is utter rubbish. How would it sound if a dean from South Africa would set up a diversity project to reduce the proportions of colored South Africans in the law profession? It would sound like an apartheid, wouldn't it? Then how the hell is it acceptable to do this in Sweden but unacceptable to do the exact same thing in South Africa? How would it sound for a faculty dean to set up a diversity project in South Korea to reduce the proportion of South Korean people in the university? You see where I'm going with this? It's always somehow acceptable, particularly in Scandinavia, but also in Britain, not only to offer equal opportunities, but to actively discriminate against white people for the sole reason that they're white. And if you dare to oppose, you're immediately labeled a racist because, you see, only non-whites are allowed to have an opinion on racism, a position which is in and of itself racist, but it's not like cognitive dissonance ever stopped the cultural Marxists in their long march through institutions. The reality is that Sweden is not just going through a population replacing process that is already obvious and the problem in and of itself, but Sweden is also the prisoner of a tiny group of ideologues who have literally taken over the nation and are dismantling it piece by piece, whilst being utterly convinced that they're doing good. And therein lies the problem. These fucktards genuinely believe that everyone will be better off if white people are purged from the institutions in their own nation. Even if this idiocy gets turned around, the long-term effects on Sweden of these utterly insane policies to which this generation has been subjected to will be devastating. But I'm afraid it won't get turned around, and Sweden will indeed go down to being a third world nation as the UN predicted. I hope that won't happen because, believe it or not, I really like Sweden. The trouble is that there are fewer and fewer rational reasons to believe that the tide will get to be turned around. At the very least, I hope Sweden will serve as a lesson for the rest of us on what happens when you allow unfettered leftism to take over the nation. Anyway, with that being said, don't forget to subscribe, follow me on Twitter at FreedomAlternat, and consider supporting this channel. Come on, I know you're tempted. I'll bring more of these if you do. Thanks for watching.